All right, multiplying radicals. So when we multiply radicals, the key to multiplying radicals is we want to multiply only the coefficients of the radicals by one another and then the radicands by one another. Okay, so if I'm given this binomial, 4 root 3 minus 2 root 2, all squared, remember the squared tells us basically we're taking this binomial and multiplying it by itself. So I'm going to change that squared to just rewrite this binomial times by itself. So now we want to, when we multiply this, we want to distribute each of these terms into each of these terms. And so we quite often talk about this acronym to FOIL. With variables or algebra, we're going to do the same thing with radicals. So initially we're going to take our first term times first term. When we do that, we're going to take a coefficient of 4 times 4, which gives us 16, and our radicands times our radicand, which is square root of 9. And then we're going to take our outside term times our outside term. So 4 times a negative 2 would give me a negative 8. Root 3 times a root 2 would give me root 6. Now I'm going to take my inside times inside. So I'm going to take a negative 2 times a positive 4, which would be a negative 8. And then I'm going to take a root 2 times a root 3, which would be root 6. And then finally we're going to take our last term times our last term. We're going to take a negative 2 times a negative 2, our coefficients, which would end up to be a positive 4. The square root of 2 times the square root of 2 would be the square root of 4. So once we've FOILed this entire expression, now we want to break things down and collect our like terms. So in this case, the square root of 9 is a perfect square, so the square root of 9 is simply going to work out to be a whole number of 3. I can now collect my root 6's together. So a negative 8 root 6 and a negative 8 root 6 would be negative 16 root 6. And then I'm going to take the square root of 4. 4 is a perfect square, so I can, this value is going to turn into a whole value of simply 2. The square root of 4 is 2. Next, now I'm going to take these whole values, evaluate this. 16 times 3 would give me a value of 48. Minus 16 root 6, it's going to stay as is, plus 4 times 2 is 8. And then lastly, I'm going to collect my 48 and my 8, which gives me a value of 56 minus 16 root 6. And that is multiplying radicals.